For decades, Sharon and Ozzy Osbourne have stood as one of entertainment's most chaotic, complicated, yet enduring couples. They've been through the storms of fame, addiction, and family drama, and somehow always found their way back to each other. But behind the laughter, behind the TV cameras, and behind that public toughness Sharon became known for, there was a secret that cut deeper than anyone imagined. This is the story of what Sharon Osbourne finally said when she broke her silence about Ozzy's affairs, the pain they caused, and the truth that nearly ended everything. The Osbournes were never the picture of calm domestic life. They were rock and roll royalty, loud, unfiltered, and raw. From the moment they met in the 1970s, Sharon and Ozzy were like fire colliding with gasoline. She wasn't just his partner, she became his manager, his anchor, and his protector. But she also knew who Ozzy was. Sharon once said, "He's always been inappropriate with women." She didn't sugarcoat it. She went into their marriage knowing that the man she loved had demons, addiction, fame, temptation, and self-destruction all swirling around him. And for years, she managed those storms with grit and control. But even the strongest person has a breaking point. It was 2016 when the headlines exploded. Ozzy's affair with a hairdresser named Michelle Pugh was everywhere, splashed across magazines, trending online, dissected on talk shows. For Sharon, it wasn't just public humiliation. It was a deeply personal betrayal. She later revealed she found out about it in the most ordinary setting imaginable, sitting on the couch, watching television. She said the moment she learned the truth, it felt like the floor disappeared. The affair wasn't just about cheating. It was about years of trust collapsing in seconds. And as the media frenzy grew, so did her pain. Sharon described herself as broken in every sense. Her husband, her business partner, her best friend, had shattered the life they built. At first, people assumed this was a one-time affair, a tragic, dramatic mistake in a long marriage. But Sharon stunned everyone when she said Ozzy hadn't cheated with one woman. He'd cheated with six different women, different ages, different countries. In her words, if you're a woman giving Ozzy either a back rub or a trolley of food, God help you. It wasn't a single moment of weakness. It was a pattern that had gone on for years. There was a masseuse in England, their family cook, a hotel employee, a hairstylist, and others whose names never came out publicly. Sharon said Ozzy had women in every country when he was on tour, a line that silenced even the most cynical reporters. She wasn't just uncovering infidelity, she was uncovering a double life. The discovery crushed her. Sharon later admitted that she fell into such despair she tried to end her own life. It's one of the darkest confessions she's ever made, that she couldn't handle the pain, the humiliation, and the sense of being disposable. She said she'd given everything to Ozzy, her career, her youth, her loyalty. And now it all felt meaningless. It's the side of Sharon Osbourne that the public rarely saw. Not the witty TV host or the fiery reality star, but a woman unraveling behind closed doors. Even years later, she described that time as hell. And yet even in that darkness, there was something inside her that refused to stay down. When she confronted Ozzy, she didn't scream. She demanded truth. Sharon forced him to admit everything. She looked him in the eye and made him say it aloud. Who, when, and why. In later interviews, she said she wanted to hear it from his mouth because only then could she decide if there was anything left worth saving. Ozzy confessed. He admitted to the affairs. He admitted that he'd hurt her and disgraced himself. He said he was terrified she would leave. And he was right to be. For the first time in his life, the rock legend who once seemed untouchable was completely at her mercy. As the news spread, Sharon became both victim and spectacle. Every talk show wanted her reaction. Every tabloid wanted her tears. But Sharon Osbourne didn't hide. She faced the questions directly. On Good Morning Britain, she appeared visibly shaken, but her voice was steady. She said, "I was broken in every sense. It wasn't for sympathy, it was honesty. Pure, unfiltered, brutal honesty." She also revealed that Ozzy entered therapy for what she called sex addiction, an attempt to explain his behavior but not excuse it. To many, it sounded like damage control. To Sharon, it was one last shot at salvaging something from the wreckage. After months of separation, public scrutiny, and painful therapy, Sharon made the decision few expected. She took him back. "I forgive," she said, "but it's going to take a long time to trust." Those words summed up everything about her: strength without denial. She wasn't pretending it didn't happen. She wasn't erasing the pain. She was simply choosing to live with it rather than let it define her. Over the years, she's explained her reasoning again and again. After more than 30 years of marriage, she couldn't imagine life without him. She said, "I'm happier with him than without him." It wasn't about weakness. It was about love that refused to fit into the world's neat boxes of right and wrong. To his credit, Ozzy didn't hide either. He's called it the biggest mistake of his life. In interviews, he said, "I regret cheating on my wife. I upset my family. I made a lot of shame." He admitted the affair forced him to face who he had become. "It was my reality check," he said. "I'm lucky she didn't leave me." Behind the rough exterior, behind the heavy metal persona, there was a man terrified of losing the only person who ever truly grounded him. And in that way, Sharon's strength didn't just save her. It saved him too. Today, years later, Sharon speaks about that chapter with clarity and control. She doesn't dwell on it, but she doesn't deny it either. She's turned that pain into part of her identity. Proof that survival doesn't always look graceful, but it's survival nonetheless. Their marriage continues, imperfect, but enduring. The Osbournes are older now, wiser, and maybe a little softer. They've seen fame at its peak and scandal at its worst. And somehow they're still standing. When asked what kept her going, Sharon said, "I've been through too much to give up now." That line isn't just about Ozzy. It's about her entire life, the trials, the betrayals, the public ridicule, and the private strength. When Sharon Osbourne finally spoke out, she didn't just confirm the rumors. She redefined the story. She turned public embarrassment into emotional honesty and silence into strength. Her words stripped away the glamour of celebrity and exposed something deeply human: the fear of losing the person you love most, even when they're the one who broke your heart. Her story isn't about a perfect marriage. It's about survival after imperfection. It's about forgiveness that doesn't erase pain, and courage that doesn't always look pretty. In the end, Sharon's message is clear. You can be broken. You can be humiliated. But you can still stand up and live your life anyway. And that, more than any scandal, any show, or any fame, is what truly defines her. If you've enjoyed this deep look into the truth behind Hollywood's most enduring couple, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more powerful stories just like this every day.